Toh buri tililipa. Ai the President John Mahama. O video se train kat boy tomata tea. Oye, lana namen be Eoco kabagman NPP nidpa. Ka nidip tagaro yi tagamono. Tagamono la. Ai, you unuke la ni. Lana ene lo la ene lo. Awa tumbe Eoco ni. Kabra abra kau masel be lana ene tumbe tu be garama bene filong ni. Se bana bahafu. Amara ba agu katana kaile aye for tumbit. Lana mara la kaba ibanor kalaso. Ka unuke la ni. Lana ene king of foreta. The pin wila tana wila. Kala belunka President Mahama. You bida moyo ulimma. Ulimu ubihini la. Ko mengira yeli. Oeni lan ba akana ba asumti ubi. Okuyanzo kabaha ubi he. President Mahama no yil kanga. Nuki ukukudwana kang kakino foreta de eromeng be duniani kalabo de era. To tikeleme anto ala birkoda katia kile kanepala tediting to nilada.
Had to meet the promises I made them. And so I always tell my ministers, I say let's number our days so that we can work harder to meet the promises we made the Ghanaian people. I note that people have gone to the Supreme Court seeking interpretation of the clause that governs the tenure of the president. If you ask my personal opinion, I thought that it was clear enough. Me, I've read it over several times. It's exactly what it says. But if they want to ask the Supreme Court, that is their business. But I know that the people of Ghana gave me one additional term, and I'm going to work to meet the trust that they put in me. Thank you very much. I also just want to touch on accountability and to say that we do not harbor any malice against any person. And indeed, I do not take any enjoyment or pride in prosecuting people if they have done no wrong. And I believe that our prosecutorial system, investigative system, and judicial system grants enough leverage for people to have justice. And so nobody would, out of, political vendetta or malice, prosecute anybody if you've done no wrong. And if you've done no wrong and you are being prosecuted maliciously, the courts will be able to uphold your rights and set you free. And so it shouldn't be like we're trying to hound our political opponents or something. We proceed on the basis of evidence we have received. And then the evidence is weighed. And if it is sufficient, there are many times we have reports and all that. Sometimes the evidence comes and it's not substantive. And so you say, if it's on the weight of this evidence, you cannot proceed to court. So discard it. Or investigate further and see if there's something else that you have not found. But otherwise, if a case proceeds, and that is why the whole system of accountability is taking time, because you need to be thorough. By the time Eoco or OSP or somebody comes and arrests the person, it means that months of work have taken place reviewing the evidence. And so I just want to assure that accountability is still our number one priority. But like I keep saying, the sword does not cut only one way. If we find evidence that any of our current appointees or persons working in government under our tenure also has abused the public trust, the way the sword is cutting that way, it will cut this way too. And so I always caution my appointees to be very careful. Be sure you follow the procedure, don't cut corners. And the point is, if you have any doubts, I tell the ministers every day, if you have any doubt, bring it to cabinet. Let's all look at it and take a collective decision on it. If you bring it to cabinet and we take a collective decision based on the wisdom of the president and all the ministers there, tomorrow nobody can come and hold you and say you did this on your own because you wanted to do this or do that. And so we'll continue to pursue accountability, because I believe that if we are accountable, we cut down corruption, and we also reduce the amount of waste of public resources, we would not need to go to the IMF for anything. I mean, look at all the work we've done in 1.5 years without going onto the international capital markets for borrowing. Where did that money come from? It is the same cedis, the same domestic revenue that we have used for everything. Agboja spoke. Last year, we used 13.8 billion for the big push alone. This year, 30.8 billion for the big push alone. And so that's a commitment of more than 40 billion cedis. I mean, where did we find more than 40 billion cedis for reconstructing our roads? It's because we cut waste, we are prioritizing where we're putting the people's money. And that is going to be the hallmark of this government.
It is Pearl from Machi, or Mama Pearl from Ho. I'm one of the matured women among the advocates in Ho. So what I want to say, when I was coming, my people were calling me, try to say something, oh, we want to hear something, that's why I'm forcing to talk.
So let's hear it quickly then.
So, first of all, I want to thank Mr. President and all the ministers, because all the addresses they gave was centered on accountability. I want to praise them for that. And I pray that they will all live long. Amen.
Amen. So now your question or contribution, please.
What I want to ask again, the questions are many, but the only one.
Just one question, yes.
Only one I want to ask is that if all the addresses are based on accountability, and since I am voting for many years now, I have not seen any of the ministers like Oforiata running away. So I want to have an assurance that by all means they will bring him back to come and account.
Thank you very much. So
there are laws governing extradition or return of fugitives from justice. It's a legal process, and so you need to respect the rights of the person at the same time. And so if the person has absconded from a jurisdiction and gone into a new jurisdiction, if you want to bring him back, first you must have an extradition treaty with that country, and then secondly you must trigger a request, an application for extradition. And the person has the right to take a lawyer, go before a judge, and if he doesn't want to come, he will argue against coming, and your point two must be made that he's needed because he's done this and this and that. And so to go before a judge, unfortunately it won't be a Ghanaian judge, it will be an American judge, and he will decide, whether the gentleman you mentioned should be put on a plane and brought back. But the Attorney General's Department has done its best. It filed the application. There are some additional documents that were asked for that it is filing, and eventually it will all go before an American judge to make a decision. But I do believe that even by virtue of holding a position like that for many years, I mean almost till the end of the regime, you held the most sensitive position as finance minister. And at a point when your own members of parliament, 80 of them, signed an application that the president should remove you, you said something historic. You said you are like the father of children, and that you can't run away and leave your children. And so if we Ghanaians are your children, we're calling you, we're begging you, Father, come back. Your children are calling you to come back, but just the act of fleeing, I mean, if you're a man of principle and you believe you've done nothing wrong, I don't see why you should flee your own country. And so we'll see what the legal regime is and how it proceeds. But whatever it is, if he's brought back, he will have justice. We believe in the judicial system of our country. You have the best of lawyers to defend him. But if he doesn't come back to then, it means that he leaves a cloud of doubts over his head forever, and his children and his grandchildren. And so we'll see how things play out.
Tini kile kalipala. Fumat butik bu zanting to akan ko to ala pala. Fuma butik bu zanting ileni. Ai sumbi lana na comment section da katiting ton. Wala ano song kusa katiting ton.